Hi everyone, welcome to our first episode of the new series where we dive into the stories of the amazing people that make up the pillars of Alba. My name is Talib, and in this series we'll be exploring the journeys, challenges and success stories that have helped shape who we are as a company. Today I'm excited to be joined by Chloe. She's been with us, part of the Alba journey for the past 6 years and currently the head of our recruitment. So Chloe, you've been with us for 6 years now. What was life like before Alba? What were you up to in Scotland?
Yeah, so I've travelled around a bit. I started off university, went to uni in Edinburgh, studied business and marketing, had various marketing jobs, and then just before I came out here, I was actually an IT analyst for a really big energy company in Scotland, and then obviously flew out here February 2019.
What attracted you to Dubai? What made you decide to make the journey across?
Well, I think I've always loved to travel, and I've always just, I've travelled most of Europe, Thailand, Australia. I've just been all over, and I've never really been set in Scotland. I just never felt like that was going to be my forever place. It's always home. I love going back, but it's just not where I see myself being. And obviously I've got bigger aspirations, and I wanted to give it a go in Dubai.
So what was your first day like in Dubai? Talk me through that. Was there a culture shock? Have you been in Dubai before?
I'd been over to Dubai for a holiday, but it's very, very different obviously being here on holiday and actually living here. There wasn't so much a culture shock within the first couple of weeks, but I'd say, as time goes by, you sort of start to adapt and, see how things work. So there is obviously cultural differences. But you learn, you live, you adapt.
So what was your first day like at Alba? I know you joined us, I think first you started with our F&I department.
I did.
Insurance at Alba Cars. Mm-hmm. What was that like? Did you think it's something you can do well? Were you a bit nervous?
Yeah, of course I was nervous. It's a brand new role in a brand new country. I did feel a little bit out of my depth in the beginning because there's so much to the finance system in Dubai. It's very, very different to back home. There's still a lot of building to be done within the system here, so it was just so different for me. So I won't lie, in the first 3 months that I was here, I was questioning, have I made the right decision? Have I done the right thing in this role and actually coming over here? And I thought, this isn't really me. I'm very much a people's person. And when you're in F&I, you're kind of just in the background. Okay. So for me, I just was thinking something is not clicking here. By the time I finished up in F&I, I felt like an absolute whiz kid with it all. Yeah. But, that took a bit of time and definitely a lot of challenges along the way for the months that I was there. I think it was 6 months that I was in F&I.
For those who don't know what F&I is, what's F&I in Alba Cars? What did you do?
So in Alba Cars, F&I is obviously the finance department. They do everything from getting insurance for your vehicle, getting you the approval with the banks, making sure we've got all the money received for cars, getting the car registered. So it's a whole process. And I think people think that it's a really quick thing, send the documents to the bank, that's you done. But you've got to be really meticulous and you cannot make any mistakes. One mistake could cost the company thousands, hundreds of thousands. So, your brain has to be dead set on that all the time.
So yeah, I do remember when you first joined us, I was thinking F&I is a bit of a sensitive role, as you know. But yeah, I think your personality, the way you were so organized and you love structure, I thought would be a perfect fit. It is one of those departments that can be, dangerous to make a mistake in. We've had, I can admit we've had the wrong person in that role before where they ended up registering the wrong car under the client's name. And it was,
not me, by the way.
Yeah, I know. It was, of course, we got it reversed, but it was a disaster, So these things can happen. It's sometimes one digit wrong or one paper wrong.
Yeah.
In the wrong file. So yeah, I think you did a great job in F&I. And how long did you do that for with us?
I think it was around 7 months. Okay. So I felt like I kind of mastered it, and actually in every other role that I've been in since, I've used a lot of the skills from it, and it really set me up in good stead for the next steps that I took in Alba Cars, which I'm sure you're going to touch on.
Yes. So next you transitioned from F&I and you became one of our top salespeople within Alba Cars. Tell me about that and how you managed.
Yeah. Like I said earlier, I have always been a super people's person. I love being out there talking to people. So I think when you'd approach me with that opportunity, I was like, what have I got to lose? And I remember at one time, one of the sales guys had said, now, Chloe, when it was my first day, I think, which actually that day I ended up selling a Porsche. Mm-hmm. And it was a Porsche that was like really expensive. And now I can't even remember what it was. Yeah. 911, no, it wasn't a 911. But anyway, I ended up selling a car that we'd had in stock for like a month, which was obviously quite long for us. And I sold it. And I remember you looking at me and you were like, what? I was like, yeah, no, what? Like, it was kind of potluck. But I remember one of the sales guys at the time, he said, no, Chloe, don't be upset if you don't sell as many as the guys. Yeah. Because you probably won't, because you're a woman. And really, I didn't know much about cars at the time. But what I do know is how to sell and how to build rapport with people and find them what they want. So in my first month, I outsold all of them. And I just, I was kind of well, I'll show you. So I did. Yeah. And that's where my sales journey began. And I'm very, very happy that I did it. I learned so much.
So selling cars, you did that for a couple of years, I think 2-3 years. What were the highs and what were the lows of selling used cars?
I think, like with all sales roles, that you've always got that pressure on you because you're really working for commission. You do get a small basic, but commission is what you're after. And, money has never driven me crazy. I've never been massively money driven. Obviously, I like to be comfortable. But for me, I don't like to let people down as well. So I'm always looking to be outselling and hitting KPIs and really selling as many as I can. And that pressure can get to you. There'll be some months where you're just not having a great month. Yeah. And you've just not sold as many as you'd like or as you would have liked me to have sold. So that pressure would get to me a bit, which obviously can sort of get you down, and then that pressure kind of like moves on to the next month and you're selling yourself short. So it's hard to keep that mindset up in sales. You learn it as you go along. And obviously because we are, selling used cars, some cars will come up with problems. Yeah. But that is the nature of the business. Anyone in car sales is going to tell you, you will have some cars that are going to break down. And that's just, it's a machine. What can you do? It's going to happen. So I think I struggled with that because obviously, you build rapport with your customers and they trust you in what they're buying. And I want them to trust me. I trust all the cars. But at the end of the day, like I said, it is a machine and things can go wrong at any point. Yeah. So I struggled when things went wrong just off the customer aspect of it because I built really good relationships with them.
Yeah, I mean, obviously sales is a lot of pressure on any team. I think even with our team size of 10 in Alba Cars, with the sales team, there's always 9 out of 10 people who are not at the top, and someone has to be at the bottom of the list. Even if they did well, they had a great month, so it's a lot of pressure and it's a lot of, everyone wants to do better than everybody else. So yeah, it's a tough role and it's a tough job, but I think we can agree you did an amazing job there.
And the environment in the sales team in Alba is super healthy. It's not a toxic sales environment to be working in at all. It was, just a bit of fun, and we would make fun of each other for not being at the top or maybe being at the bottom, but that would still be like, that hit hard. Yeah. But it was all in jest.
And just to touch on the point, obviously I think one of your strengths was how amazing you were with customers and how you built rapport, and obviously the hardest part was because you are selling used cars. Sometimes things do go wrong. Sometimes a repair takes a little bit longer than we would have liked it to be, and that can affect, and people think, were you were so nice to me before, why is something going wrong? And of course, I remember at the time when you were in the sales team, we weren't as big as we are today, and the sales team was lacking a bit of leadership, I recall at the time, and we even we ran a survey amongst the sales team to see who do you guys believe is the person within the team that can help you improve your skills, sell more cars, give you the guidance that you need. And I recall your name popping up a few times. Can you tell us about that story?
The general elections.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, we kind of, we had to put ourselves forward for it. And I like being able to lead people and help teach people. I love teaching. Could never be a teacher to kids, but I love teaching adults. I just love that whole feeling, when new people were joining, showing them the ropes and throwing them the ropes. And I just really enjoyed it. And I think because I learned so much in F&I about the process, because a lot of it in Dubai is knowing what the process is. No one's going to trust you if you don't know what you're talking about. So ingraining that into the sales staff was key for me, so that they know what they're talking about and their customers are going to trust them. You'd be the go-to person. So obviously I put myself forward for it because I know that I am a people's person, and I'd like to think that I'm a good manager. I think I am.
You are.
And yeah, I mean, I think I got the people's vote.
Yes. Yeah, that was fun times. I think it was the right choice for sure, and you helped lead the team forward. And how long were you in that position for? How long did you manage and lead the team for before we moved you again and installed you into somewhere else?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was around... So I was a team leader for a bit, and then we moved up. It was probably around 2.5 years, probably around that sort of time. So yeah, it was great. And, seeing what Alba was when I had first joined, it's a completely different company. We were a much smaller sales team, and right up until like my end of my reign in sales management in Alba Cars, we had 9 sales staff at the time, and the whole of Alba Cars, we have way more warehouses, way more cars, way more staff, and we've grown in every way. So it's been a really exciting journey, obviously challenging at times, but it's fun to see us shape and learn, and just, see where the road takes us. But, we can only push forward and try our best, I guess.
I think after a couple of years of leading the team, and we were growing as an Alba group, we grew into different industries, including Alba Homes, and we felt that Alba Homes, it's a commission-based job, working in real estate, obviously, and it can be very challenging, and the right mentorship and leadership is needed, and the more the merrier, the more people we have on board for the people that join us, and we felt would bring better results. And there was only one person that we could think of that could bring a massive boost of morale to everybody and guidance and help, and that was yourself. So we asked you to pass the torch on in Alba Cars and move with us to Alba Homes. And how did you feel when we first proposed that to you? And
yeah, I think as with everyone in sales, you get to a point where you're kind of thinking, where now? And, unless I'm going to take over from you, who am I going to take over in Alba Cars? So, you just get to a point, I think, probably especially in car sales, you do get to a point where you think, right, I'm ready for the next step. So it kind of came at the perfect time for me. I'd reached that point where I'd reached the ceiling in my eyes. And yeah, I obviously welcomed the idea with open arms, and over I came.
Yes.
And I'm obviously really happy that I did. I'm the head of recruitment. I'm not a manager for any of the agents, but I am a sounding board for them when they've got problems. I recruit them, and real estate is a really, really difficult industry to be in. Probably one of the hardest, I'd say, in sales to get started. And I don't sugarcoat that to new agents when I'm interviewing them. I'm very, very honest with how difficult it can be. But then I'm also honest about how amazing it can be and how it can change your life. So that's just part of my role here, and I absolutely love it.
So I think we spoke about this morning, where a lot of agencies, they sell the dream. There is a real dream out there when it comes to real estate, but they fall short when it comes to the risk. The first 3 to 6 months, obviously, it's very tough to build your pipeline and become good at being a real estate agent. And I think the thing we were talking about this morning, that you make sure you tell everybody the good and the bad at the same time.
Yeah, the way I think about it is, like, say for example, you've applied for a job and they tell you half of the job description. Yeah. I don't want to sell people half of a job. I'm going to tell them the good, the bad, and the ugly. It's because it is a very, very difficult industry to be in. Sales in general can be difficult, but especially real estate, when we are flooded by hundreds of thousands of other agents in this market, and we want our agents to be the best. So, a lot goes into that to become the best. And it takes time, a lot of resilience, commitment. So, yeah, I'm very, very honest with people when they're interviewing to come work with us, that it's not all sunshine and rainbows.
So you were in sales, Chloe. Tell us, do you use your sales techniques to convince people why they should work for us and not someone else?
I think all of recruitment has a little bit of, sales in it. I'm selling our company to you, because at the end of the day, the company has to be right for them as well. So I'm, of course, going to sell Alba. There's a lot of competition out there, and I know that we have a crazy amount of offerings that people are going to, be able to transform their lives here. But yeah, I mean, of course.
Obviously, Chloe, there's a lot of media and news and all kinds of stories about Dubai. Some are positive, some are negative, some are true, some are not so truthful. How did you deal with what you've heard about Dubai when you initially thought about the move, and how do you answer people's questions when they ask you about some of the crazy stories we hear?
Yeah. When I first came over to Dubai, I mean, I'd been on holiday, but living here and being on holiday here are two very, very different things. Within the first 3 months, it's a different work culture as well. It's just totally different. But yeah, after the first 3 months, I thought, have I made the right decision? But I thought, no, I'm going to stick this out, and I'm so glad that I did. There's a lot of cultural differences. It's a melting pot of different nationalities here, cultures, religions. So it helps you learn and grow as a person. I feel like a completely different person. I know so much more than I ever did about the world in general. When I go back home now, I feel like a totally different person. Everything is just so easily accessible here in Dubai as well, like InstaShop.
Yeah.
When my friends come over, I'm like, do you need Panadol?
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, okay, we'll go get it. I'm like, no, I'll be right at the door in 10 minutes. And they're shocked. So when I go home, I struggle with that. Very first world problems, I know. But, the other side of the coin, I've got friends who don't really want or have the desire to come to Dubai because all they read is the crazy stories in the media about how strict Dubai is, but it couldn't be further from the truth. Of course, we need to be, understanding of values, religions, cultures over here, and, don't rub it in their face. No PDA, but I wouldn't do that back home either. Yeah, I mean, you can be a free person here.
Yeah.
And that's really it.
Yeah, I think that the safety we feel here is obviously is something that comes from stricter rules and regulations, but you don't really walk around the street and see police everywhere or feel restricted. I think there's a lot of freedom here. It's just being respectful, like you said, and making sure everyone lives their own lives and it doesn't bother people. And I think if you do that, you're
100%.
no one bothers you.
And for me, being able to be out alone at night, walking my dog or whatever, I feel I've never felt more safe in my life living in Dubai. And even with my phone, if you're in a bar or a restaurant, I'll just leave my phone there and I know it's going to be there when I get back. Yeah. And then I was out when I was in Portugal. I was at my friend's hen do and I left my phone on the table. My friends were like, Chloe, what are you doing? But I forgot that actually the rest of the world is not as safe and honest like Dubai is. So, I really do appreciate that. I've never lost my phone in Dubai, ever.
Yeah. It is strange when you go to Europe and you go out at night. Even for me, I remember, I think a year ago I was in Greece, in Athens, and I got to the hotel late and it was around 1 a.m. walking around with graffiti everywhere and, scary looking people on the street, and you just have that sense. Yeah. Nothing happened, obviously, just you have that sense of, you're not safe, and that, instantly you start thinking, okay, I've got something good back home in Dubai.
Pickpockets and stuff. Yeah. It's just scary old world out there. I'll stay safe in Dubai.
So obviously, Chloe, you joined us, I think, after 4 years of us starting Alba Cars, but since then we've had quite a massive growth. We've kind of accelerated. You've seen all this, you've witnessed it. What's been your thoughts? How did it look?
Yeah, I mean, starting in Alba, we were a very, very close-knit group. We were all going out for dinners at the weekends together, and it was almost like every staff member in Alba was going out together. Yeah. And that's how it was in the beginning. And then, as the years have gone on, of course, we've grown, and now we've got multiple branches of Alba Corp, and there's so many new employees. And I won't lie, so that change is always difficult. And I think for the people that have been in Alba for as long as I have, sometimes we struggled with seeing it grow as much as it was because it wasn't that same family feel, But now, as we are reaching just higher and higher numbers of staff, and companies. It's now just a really, really exciting time. We've all just sort of adopted that frame of mind, but it was obviously not always that easy to accept. So many new faces. When I'm, visiting the different branches now, I'm like, whoa, like this is a completely different place. But it's so exciting to watch, and I know that we're not going to stop anytime soon.
Yeah, absolutely not. Yeah, I know what you mean. I do miss the good old times when we used to all, sometimes we would close early and we all just go out and have some fun. And but I think it was time to grow the company and look at the bigger picture and make sure that we all carry each other forward. And I'm happy we have had some amazing people come and join the team, of course. And it's tough transitioning to a more corporate world. We're trying to keep it non-corporate as much as possible, but it's the way things are.
Yeah, and what's funny, like, when we were younger, mid-20s, and looking at us back then, we'd all be going out together, having like a crazy time. And now as we are sort of transitioning to being more corporate, we've all kind of like, we're all living the Zen life now. Yeah. I don't go out much anymore. I like to go to yoga, Pilates, I love staying in on the weekend, which is obviously just a sign we're getting older. But I think it's I'm glad that we had that time in Alba as well, and now to see it where it is now is phenomenal. And we've still got so many of the same staff members that were there 6 years ago. So
it's incredible. Every journey, Chloe, has its ups, its downs. What's been the highlight for you? What's been the highest point? And what's been the lowest, if you can share with us?
Highest points are always just, when I was in cars specifically, is exceeding targets, reaching new records in sales for that month, profits. That's always super exciting because we were getting to see that the work and the changes, strategizing, all of that was sort of working and paying off. All of that work we were putting in. So that was always a highlight for me to see, like, us growing and go from strength to strength. I'd say one of the biggest challenges I've had was actually making the decision to leave Alba Cars and move into Alba Corp. That was like one of the biggest crossroads for me. I struggled so much with that because it was like I felt like I was leaving my family. Although it's still the Alba Corp family, I was kind of like with my mum's side and my dad's side, and it was tough, and I had a lot of sleepless nights over that decision. But I'm obviously super glad that I have. I'm still with the Alba fam, and I've still got my Alba Cars family.
Do you visit us sometimes, but not as often as before, and down the showroom side?
Yeah, I was there yesterday. So when I do, I try and stop by every couple of months. I should really visit more, but obviously things are just so busy on the side as well. We're all just sort of manic in all areas of business in a good way, so it's a bit harder, but I'm going to try and visit a bit more to see them. But even now when I'm in Alba Cars, it's like all these new faces, some that I've hired, and I'm like, whoa, this is not this is not where I left, but it's great to see.
So Chloe, obviously you're our star player here in Alba Corp and
MVP. MVP.
And we're always, whenever we have something new, something exciting, you're obviously someone that we value. And as of recently, we started Alba Innovation Hub, where it's a co-working space, and we're encouraging businesses to come and join us, and especially startups. And what's been your role in this? I know we've kind of been trying to convince you to take part of this journey as well as the recruitment side.
Yeah, this was another crossroads that actually I thought, is this right for me right now? But I've kind of got it down in terms of the recruitment side. I've got a little bit extra help with that now because I am taking on this new role as well. I think because I have sold cars, I have the sales in me. I'm naturally a salesperson, I guess. I like speaking with people. Love chatting to new people. You can't shut me up. Mm-hmm. And now that I've obviously been working a lot with the agents as well here, I know a lot about real estate, square footage, all that kind of stuff. So it kind of felt like a really easy, natural step for me to sort of fall into this. I've got a little bit extra help on the recruitment side, so I'm able to sort of spearhead this side of it now as well, and just help rent out these spaces. Obviously, our new office space is phenomenal. It's just stunning. So it's pretty easy.
So Chloe, for those who don't know what Alba Corp is, Alba Innovation Hub, What do we do here?
So we've been here just over a month now, I think. It's a co-working space. You know, we've got the cafe lounge, so I'll sometimes just take my laptop, work from the cafe lounge. We've got the meeting rooms, training rooms. The VIP section is absolutely stunning. So the space, it's over 14,000 square foot. And I think it's just really cool as well because we're able to mix with people outside of Alba, you know, share stories. I've made friends with a lot of people in here already. So yeah, it's just really fun, exciting, and a great new step for us to take.
Yeah, podcast room. Obviously, we're
sitting right in the podcast room. Yeah,
this is a great new space for us to chat and obviously show behind the scenes to everybody else. So, Chloe, obviously, the past few years, this is a very different Alba from where it was a few years ago, and I'm sure it's going to be a very different one in 3 or 4 years' time. How do you envision it? How do you see it? Where do you see yourself within Alba? Do you think it'll be within the same role? Do you think it will evolve into something else?
You know, if you'd asked me the same question 3 years ago, I would struggle to say that this is where we would be now because it just wasn't on our bingo card at the time. I didn't think, you know, so our growth has been substantial over the last 3 years. So I'd imagine in the next 3 years is going to be even more. We have a lot more manpower, a lot more businesses. It's, you know, been a crazy old ride up till now. So I see us having more innovation hubs. I don't want to just stick to one. Potentially even venture outside of Dubai. Who knows? And also the business offerings that we have. I know that we've got a lot more coming up that we can offer to businesses, startups, things like that. So I'm excited to expand on those. And as for my role, I like to think I'm a bit of a jack of all trades, still a master of some, but you know, I think recruitment is sort of me at the heart. So I think I'll always be a big part of that. But, you know, I do still like with the Innovation Hub and me joining that sort of team now, I like to expand and diversify what I can sort of offer to Alba. It's fun and I always like trying new things. And I know a lot about Alba as well and how we work. So I think it makes sense for me to sort of help build other parts of us as well.
Okay, and if someone was to join Alba today, what advice would you give them if this is day one, just to... How would they blend in with the team? What would you warn them about if there's a warning, or what would you advise them?
Alba Corp or?
Anywhere in Alba family.
I mean, I think just immerse yourself in the Alba culture. We obviously work super, super hard, and we do. Our teams are the most hardworking people I've ever seen. I've worked in many companies. But, you know, have fun. Like, have fun with us. You know, innovate.
Yeah.
That's what we're all about. Share your ideas. Of course, you're going to come up with challenges in any new job. But, you know, speak to people about it. Like I'd say pretty much, well, all of our managers have very much got an open door policy here. If you're ever struggling, reach out. I've definitely struggled a lot of the times in the past. If you don't reach out, you're not going to get the help. So, yeah, have fun and work hard is my,
motto.
Well, I guess work hard, party harder.
So before we wrap up today, Chloe, how has the journey of Dubai, the journey of Alba Cars impacted your family, your personal life? How has it been for you overall? Is it something that has a positive, negative impact?
I think working at Alba has probably changed the entire course of my life, in a good way. When I originally came out to Dubai, I remember saying to my friends and family, I am going to go out there for 1 year. I had just come back from Australia. I was in Scotland for a bit, and I thought, I'm just going to go for 1 year and just to see.
The famous saying.
I know.
That comes to Dubai.
I know. And, you know, 6 years later, I'm still here. So obviously that's testament to what the company's brought me. And hopefully what I brought the company, I'm still here.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, it's changed me. I've grown so much professionally, as well as personally. You know, I'm older now. I'm more mature. I've got my life in order, and yeah, so no regrets whatsoever, and I don't see myself leaving this journey with Alba anytime soon.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing your journey with us, Chloe, and hopefully we can do this again in a couple of years when we have grown even further. All right. Thank you so much.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me,
That's a
Talib.
wrap.